Most people think social power comes from confidence, from charisma, from speaking first, from dominating conversations before silence has a chance to settle. But in adult life, real social power often begins somewhere much quieter. It begins in restraint, not the forced kind, not emotional suppression that slowly poisons someone from the inside, but the kind of self-control that changes the emotional atmosphere around a person, because most social environments are emotionally reactive. Someone feels ignored. They immediately prove themselves louder. Someone feels disrespected. They rush to defend their image before anyone even attacks it. Someone feels insecure, and suddenly every conversation becomes performance. You can feel it in offices, in friendships, even inside families. People reveal their emotional pressure constantly, not through honesty, but through impatience. And over time, adults become extremely sensitive to this. They notice who needs validation too quickly, who cannot tolerate silence, who becomes defensive the moment tension appears, who loses emotional balance the second something threatens their identity. Most people never say this out loud, but emotionally reactive individuals slowly lose psychological authority in a room, not because they are weak, but because they become predictable. The moment someone can control your emotional state, they can partially control your behavior. That is why self-control quietly changes social power, because restraint creates uncertainty, and uncertainty changes how people perceive you. A calm person becomes difficult to emotionally manipulate. Not impossible, but difficult, especially in modern social environments where emotional impulsiveness has become normal. Now people overshare immediately, react publicly, expose frustration instantly, explain themselves too much, defend themselves before accusations even fully exist. And strangely, the more emotionally available people become online, the less emotionally grounded they often feel in real life. So when someone remains composed under pressure, people notice, even if they never mention it, especially at work. There is a specific kind of employee managers become psychologically cautious around, not the loud, ambitious one, the calm one, the employee who does not emotionally panic during conflict, who listens longer than expected, who does not chase approval in meetings, who absorbs pressure without visibly collapsing into it. Because emotionally controlled people interrupt social patterns, manipulation becomes harder around them. Office politics become less effective. Passive aggression loses some of its power when the target refuses emotional participation. And this creates something subtle, respect mixed with discomfort, because emotionally reactive environments depend on predictable reactions. If someone insults you and you instantly react, the social script continues normally. But when someone remains emotionally steady, the emotional burden quietly shifts back onto the aggressor. Now everyone sees the tension differently. This is why self-control often looks like confidence from the outside. Even when it is actually discipline, a person may still feel anger, still feel humiliation, still feel anxiety tightening inside their chest, but they choose not to immediately externalize it. And that choice changes social perception more than people realize, because adulthood teaches a painful truth. People trust emotional stability more than emotional intensity, especially under pressure. The loudest person in a room may temporarily control attention, but the person who controls themselves usually controls the emotional direction of the interaction. That distinction matters a lot. There is also another uncomfortable reality hidden inside self-control. It exposes insecurity in other people. Someone who constantly seeks validation often becomes unsettled around emotionally grounded individuals, because calmness creates comparison without saying anything. Emotionally disciplined people force others to confront their own impulsiveness, and many people unconsciously interpret that as judgment, even when no judgment exists. This is why emotionally controlled individuals are sometimes described as hard to read. What people often mean is, I cannot easily influence their emotional state. And socially, that changes power dynamics immediately, not in a dramatic, cinematic way. In quieter ways, people interrupt them less, challenge them more carefully, watch their reactions more closely, take their words more seriously when they finally speak. Because restraint creates weight, words spoken too frequently lose emotional density. Reactions displayed too easily lose psychological impact. But controlled emotion creates contrast, and contrast creates presence. Still, there is an important difference between self-control and emotional numbness. Some people become quiet because they are exhausted, not emotionally disciplined. Some stop reacting because they no longer believe expression is safe. That is not power. That is emotional withdrawal. Real self-control is not the absence of feeling. It is the ability to remain internally balanced while still remaining emotionally alive. That balance is rare now, especially in environments built around stimulation. Constant opinions, constant reactions, constant visibility. People are pressured to emotionally respond to everything immediately, and over time, many lose the ability to emotionally regulate themselves without external validation. That is why calm restraint feels strangely powerful today, because it has become uncommon. Not coldness, not arrogance, just emotional steadiness, the ability to pause before reacting, to tolerate misunderstanding temporarily, to survive silence without rushing to fill it, to remain composed while others become emotionally chaotic. This kind of self-control changes relationships quietly. Friends begin respecting boundaries more. Coworkers become more careful with passive manipulation. Emotionally immature people slowly lose influence over you because they can no longer pull instant reactions from your nervous system. And perhaps most importantly, you stop abandoning yourself emotionally just to manage other people's comfort. That changes everything internally. Because many adults are not exhausted from work itself. They are exhausted from emotional leakage. Too many forced reactions, too many unnecessary explanations, too much emotional exposure in environments that never intended to protect them. Self-control closes some of those emotional exits, not to become distant, but to become stable. And stability has a strange effect on social dynamics. People begin sensing that your emotional state belongs to you now, not to the room, not to approval, not to pressure, to you. That kind of presence rarely announces itself loudly, but people feel it almost immediately, especially in a world where so many people have lost control over their attention, their emotions, and eventually themselves. And maybe that is why true self-control feels so powerful now, because it is no longer common to meet someone who can feel deeply without becoming emotionally controlled by every environment they enter.